Over the past few months, I've gotten pretty lean. This is what I looked like in January, and this is what I look like right now. The funny thing is, I've done almost no cardio. In this video, I'm putting weightlifting and cardio head to head and breaking down why focusing on weightlifting makes the biggest difference. Man, it's kind of a shitty day out, and I'm out of pre-workout, so it's a coffee for the workout today. Now, before I get into the whole weightlifting versus cardio argument, I want to clear up how weight loss works in the first place, because there's a lot of confusion online, and there's a lot of junk that honestly isn't going to work, but these people take advantage of people who don't understand how it works and make them think that there's an easy way to lose weight when really it all dials down to calories. Everyone burns a certain amount of calories per day. This is through your bodily functions like digestion and so on and so forth, as well as movement, among a few other things. If you're wanting to know how many calories you burn in a day, then there's lots of calculators online. Just look up a caloric maintenance calculator and you can type in your metrics and it'll tell you a rough amount. This isn't going to be perfectly accurate, but it's going to get you in the right ballpark and then you can adjust from there. For me, my caloric maintenance, so how many calories my body needs in order to maintain its weight, is 2,500 per day. If I ate 3,000 calories a day, 2,500 of those are going to go to keeping me alive, basically. And the other 500 are going to be stored as fat on my body. Think of calories as energy, as that's really all it is. And think of fat as the battery. Anytime you have excess energy, excess calories, that's going to be stored on your body as body fat. Now, say I ate 2,000 calories in a day. 2,000 would go to keeping me alive, and then the other 500, my body's going to have to get from somewhere. And that's going to come from its fat stores. It's going to pull from the battery, the fat stores of your body, and then use that to keep you alive. When you eat enough calories to lose weight, that's called a caloric deficit. And when you eat enough calories to gain weight, that's called a caloric surplus. One cool equation to keep in mind is that 3,500 calories is equivalent to 1 pound of body weight. So if you divide that by 7, that's 500 calories. So if you're eating in a 500 calorie deficit per day, so in my case, where I was eating 2,000 calories instead of 2,500 calories, that means I would lose 1 pound of body weight per week if I ate that amount every single day. It also means that if I ate 500 over my maintenance, so in the case of 3,000 versus 2,500, as I was talking about before, that'd mean that I put on 1 pound of body weight per week if I did that every single day.
My girl need a wine in the state. My mom need a house for the late. So I got some money to make. They told me I got what it take. So I gotta take it all back. I told them I need my pay. I need my 50 for tax. I done ran low on my patience. Make sure my time isn't wasted. I told them all that I've been real. They know that I cannot face shit. Funny, I know.
Now, in order to understand how cardio works in terms of fat loss, you first need to understand caloric expenditure. Now, if you remember earlier, I talked about your caloric maintenance and figuring that out. Caloric maintenance and calorie expenditure are basically the same thing. Calorie expenditure is how many calories you use in a day, which then determines your maintenance level of calories you need to consume in a day in order to maintain your weight. The idea with cardio is that you increase the amount of calories that you expend in a day by moving more. So running is going to burn a lot more calories than just sitting still and doing nothing all day. This will raise your caloric expenditure and raise how many calories you need in order to maintain your current weight. The problem with this though is it takes a lot of effort to increase how many calories you burn in a day. For instance, running a mile, depending on your size and your weight and all that, is going to burn roughly 100 to 120 calories. This is very easy to replace with your diet. One of these ice cream popsicle things is 260 calories. So in order to consume this above your maintenance, you're going to have to run 2 miles, if not more. This is why, in my opinion, it's a lot less effort to control your diet and eat in a caloric deficit versus trying to burn more calories. Cardio is good for other things, but in terms of weight loss, it takes a lot more effort than just managing your diet. Now, when it comes to fitness and weight loss, weightlifting also burns calories too. During a weightlifting session, you should burn about 200 to 400 calories. Now, if you remember earlier, I only said you burnt about 100 calories per mile that you run. Keep in mind here, we aren't comparing apples to apples. If you were to do a whole cardio session the same length as a weightlifting session, you'd burn a significant amount more calories, usually around 300 to 700. So if you're comparing apples to apples, cardio is definitely the way to go when it comes to burning calories. However, my point is weightlifting still does burn calories. If you're in a calorie deficit and weightlift and have a high protein intake around 1 gram per pound of body weight, then you're going to retain muscle mass and may even put on some muscle mass. Another cool thing when it comes to weightlifting is if you put on 1 pound of muscle, that's going to raise your basal metabolic rate. So how many calories you burn by 6 to 10 calories per day. Now this isn't much, but say you weightlift for an entire year and you put on 10 pounds of muscle, that's an extra 100 calories a day that you can eat. Again, this is nothing significant, but it is kind of a cool fact. Before I get into the next point, I want to let you guys know about my free fitness accountability group on Discord. I've been adding a bunch of tips and tricks in there every single day, so if you want to check those out, then I definitely recommend joining up. The link for that will be down in the description of this video. Now, one thing to keep in mind when it comes to weight loss is that if you strictly lose weight, you're probably still not going to look good. You're going to get that skinny fat look where you're kind of skinny, but you also don't have a very attractive physique because any weight that you do have is going to be fat. The people that you see online that look good when they're skinny look good because they have muscle mass. If you're strictly losing weight and not weight training and eating enough protein, you're going to lose weight, but you're not going to necessarily lose all fat. A lot of that will be muscle as well. So this is why I recommend weight training and eating enough protein when you're losing weight. If you're not maintaining that muscle mass that you do have on, or even working on building more muscle, you might not look as aesthetic as you think you will when you lose that weight because you're not going to have a very aesthetic physique under all the fat. So yeah, this is just one thing to keep in mind. Another thing that a lot of people say is, I don't want to look too bulky. And I hear you, but you're going to have to spend years and years in the gym in order to look bulky. So honestly, that's not really a concern. And if you ever do become bulky to the point where you don't think it's attractive, you can always back off on the training and lose some of that muscle. However, trust me when I say that it's going to take you 2-3 years to put on a significant amount of muscle. And the ideal thing to do is just work out to a point where you think you're attractive and then just maintain that. Just visiting my brother tonight. Looks like we got some tacos and some corn on the cob for dinner.
Molotov.
To the left, there's 2 guys at that window.
I'm mopping up. I got A. So did he die?
Yeah, I'm back though. There was a guy on the left and a guy straight.
I see you.
Losing B. They lost B. Losing Bravo. Losing A. Hostile UAV established overhead.
I'm taking the objective.
You're in C.
What? Oh, wrong corner.
Now, which is better, weightlifting or cardio? Before I answer that, I will say that diet is far superior to either of them when it comes to weight loss. If you want to lose weight, it's a lot easier to control the calories that you consume than burn more calories. That said, if I could only train one, I would choose to weight train, mostly due to the fact that I want to look aesthetic. And because of this, I need to put on muscle, and when I'm losing weight, also keep muscle. That said, I still recommend doing cardio as it is good for other things like your cardiovascular system, your mental health, or your mental toughness. It'll also allow you to eat a little extra during the day. Keep in mind though that some people get caught in the trap of thinking that I went for a run today, I can eat a bunch of other food, and that's not necessarily true. You can eat a little bit more, but you don't want to gorge on stuff and put yourself back into a calorie surplus. And if you do cardio and don't eat any extra food, it's going to further your deficit, which will mean that you lose weight even faster. So I definitely recommend still doing it. But yeah, I definitely say that weightlifting is superior to cardio for the reasons that I mentioned. Now, there's a huge myth around cardio that I talk about in this video right here. So I definitely recommend checking it out, and don't forget to click subscribe.